Hello everyone, this is Dan again, and today we are working on a Craftsman 21-inch self-propelled 6 1/4 horsepower lawnmower. The complaint the owner has is that it's running then dying, running then dying. So some of the first couple of things that we're going to check on this is we're going to check the gas, make sure it's fresh, not stale. And then number two, we're probably going to pull the bottom of the carburetor off and we're going to look for water and contaminations. So stay with me and we'll get started on this right away. Alright, so we're going to pull the bottom of the carburetor off. Look for any water contamination, any debris, any nasties. So we'll see what's going on here. We're loosening the bowl nut right now. And the bowl nut on these is also a jet. And we'll be checking that out too to make sure it isn't plugged or full of debris. There we go, got a little fuel leaking out of here. Alright, there's the bowl nut. I don't know if you can see right here, but there's a couple of holes there and then one in the end. Looks like there might be some debris in there, so we'll set that aside and clean it out. I'll see if we can get the bowl off here. And we'll look down inside the bowl. Oh boy. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a puddle down here in the very bottom. Right down there, that's water. And then we've got all this contaminants right here. So we're going to go ahead and pull the carburetor off and give it a cleaning real quick and see how it's going. So first we're going to get the bolts off to this cover. If you look right there, you can see there's two of them. One right there and one right there. Bear with me for a moment and we'll get this cover off and see where we're at. Alright, now we can proceed to take the muffler off. On this particular model here, removing the muffler, it's two 3/8 inch bolts. So we'll remove those and be gentle about it because they are steel bolts threading into an aluminum engine. And they're coming off surprisingly easy. Usually they're rusted on and you have to take great care. So there's one. Uh-oh, that one came out too easy. And there's two. It looks like we are going to have to get on there with a Phillips screwdriver to break that loose. So hold tight, I'll be right back with the Phillips. Alright, this particular one, the bolts here are too close to the intake manifold pipe. So I'm going to be using a Phillips to get them out, and in this case it's a power tool, impact driver. It's okay to use these if you're careful to removing, but never use them for putting the bolts back on, as you'll strip them out. All right. Now we can finish these with a regular Phillips. There's one and there is two. Now we've got to disconnect the breather line, which is right here, and then after that we'll disconnect the linkage, we'll move the carburetor aside, and we'll get the fuel line disconnected. See if we can wiggle this breather line loose. There's that. And we'll get the linkage disconnected. Now if you can see right up here, see if I can zoom in for you just a moment. This is your governor arm. Your throttle and your throttle return spring are connected to it. The throttle is connected to the top part, and the governor return linkage is connected to the bottom part. So we'll be taking that off next. So we just very carefully, that disconnects from the back. That one has a Z-bend. So the hook for the throttle linkage goes to the top and the return spring goes into the bottom. And while we're here, we've got access to our fuel line, and we will disconnect that, move that off to the side. Now I'm going to move you guys for a second, so sorry for the bumpy ride. And we'll get you right down here where we can see what's going on with this carburetor. Alright. Bowl gasket looks to be in good condition. We'll remove that. See some dirt in here. Let's get this air cleaner adapter off. Oops, stubborn. It's okay, we can take care of stubborn. There's two screws here holding this adapter on. We'll get those off and we'll take a look inside the throat of the carburetor. See if there's any filth going on in there. Alright, we're back again. We've got a new carburetor here. Everything looks good on it. The way we're going to assemble this is where this breather tube is right here. This is going to go inside this area right here. This is your air filter adapter, and these two screws here will hold it on. Get them both started here. Don't want to tighten them down yet until we get it all the way snug down, then we'll tighten it down evenly. Alright, back side of the carburetor is going to meet up with the intake manifold. This one comes with a gasket. And so we will place the gasket there, and we will get a nut and bolt that go on here. snug that up by hand. I'm doing the one on the front of the carburetor first. There's a reason. And that reason is this second one, this has a return spring for the governor linkage on it. So we want to put that on the back side of the carburetor, or the side that's closest to the engine, because that is going to stand up like that. Get this bolt, get that snugged on there. And these two bolts happen to be a 3/8. So we will get on there and again, don't tighten them down yet, just snug them down until we get the carburetor evenly on there. Now we can go ahead and tighten it, and this way it will prevent any air leaks because we're tightening evenly. And after that, all we've got to do here is the carburetor linkage, and it's ready to go on the engine. So, let me get set up for that real quick and get the camera moved. Okay, we're getting ready to put this back together. As you can see right here, this is the governor. And when we go to put the carburetor back on, we're going to have two linkages. The first linkage is this right here. This is the return spring. Second one is this one. This is the throttle spring. Your return spring is going to go in the bottom hole, and your throttle spring is going to go in the top hole. But before we hook those up, we want to hook our fuel line up first. So here we go. Get our fuel line hooked up. Get our fuel line clamp in place. Now we can hook up the linkages. First one is going to be a little difficult. Sorry if my hand's blocking. It's the governor return spring with the Z-bend on it. The second one we hook up is going to be the throttle linkage. See if we can get you zoomed up nice and close so you can see that. The throttle linkage is hooked up at the top, and the one with the Z-bend, which is the return spring, is hooked up at the bottom. We have our fuel line hooked up. I don't know if you can see it back here or not. And clamped. Now we're going to put our breather tube right on here. Now we're ready to put the bolts in. Like I said, this particular one uses Phillips. Get them hand tightened. Then we can get in there with a screwdriver. Always use hand tools when possible. There we go. Use a ratchet, combination wrench. In this case, I'm using a Phillips screwdriver. I took them off with an impact wrench, but we want to put them on by hand because the impact wrench will strip this. These are steel bolts, and this is an aluminum head. Next thing we need to do is put the exhaust on. We'll do that shortly. Alright, so for a recap, we've got the carburetor back on, and we're going to give it a start and see if she works out. Alright, let's see what she does. Alright, well, it looks like it works okay. I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here, and I'll go run it for a few more minutes just to make sure. She said sometimes it would run up to 5 minutes or so and then it would die, but I think we've got the problem solved. We ended up not putting the new carburetor in. That one was defective, so I had to tear that one down. The original one there, put it in the tank, soak it. The emulsion tube was missing the upper O-ring. I finally dug that out of the top. That was totally destroyed, and the lower O-ring was also destroyed. So put new O-rings on the emulsion tube, made sure everything was clean, put the old carburetor back on, and you saw it. She's working like a charm. So thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, thanks for subscribing if you're subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one.